Hello, and welcome to our first episode of Pets and Possessions. Say hi, Tony Montana. Say hi, Tony Montana. For those of you who have been around, you will have met Tony. He's been in our family for 9 years, roughly. We don't know what he is. He's a rescue. He's kind of an adopted grandson dog that I have. My daughter picked him up from the Humane Society when he was just a baby, and he terrorized our family. So here he is. So Tony is going to be on our first episode of Pets and Possessions, or Pets and Possessions. I don't know how we should do it. Pets and Possessions. Now, I want to make it clear, this is not about pets being possessed, right, Tony? He's a little crazy sometimes, but not quite possessed. Would you say you're possessed? I don't think so. This is about me bringing on, yes, my love. This is about me bringing on pets who are adoptable. Tony is not. He is never leaving our family. But we are going to be featuring different pets each week from a shelter that needs to be adopted as I tell you stories about possession. Possession. Alleged possession. He's just going to get comfortable now. More than likely. I'm sure he'll try and start talking with us here at some point, because he usually does. Right, Tony? Right. We got this. We can do this. Don't be scared. Don't be scared, Tony Montana. So today, on our first episode, we are going to tell the story of Anneliese Michel. Now, you've probably all heard about this or seen the movies Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Requiem. Those movies were all based on this actual girl. So she's got a really cool birthday. Her birthday is September 21st, 1952. That's right, 1952. So it really wasn't that long ago. But that's my birthday, not 52. I'm not that old. But she was born in Germany to a devout Catholic family. Most of the exorcisms you hear about or possessions have Catholicism in there somewhere. Thanks, bud. She was always, Anneliese, and forgive me, here we go, was always a people pleaser. Always trying to do right by people as a young child. She was really, really into her faith, that her family took her to Mass twice a week. And she felt like she had to fix people for their sins throughout her entire life. So she would do all of these religious things. It was her main goal was to make sure everybody went to heaven or was forgiven for their sins. They say that they believe that came from her mom. Her mom had an illegitimate child before Anneliese was born. So she was regarded as being a sinner. Because, back then, it was ridiculous. Still is for a lot of people this day, but judgment was high back in 1952s, back in the 1950s. So her mom had this illegitimate child, Not a lot of info on that child, what happened, if she gave it up for adoption or if they raised that child. And she also had a sister who died after that during surgery, which they believed was because Annelise's mom was a sinner. So an innocent child had to die because, you know, that's how they think it works, I guess. So Anneliese was like almost OCD about trying to make sure her mom was going to get to heaven, I guess. So she spent most of her childhood doing just that, praying, extreme measures of religion things. And it wasn't until she was 16 that she had her first episode. Now, when we're talking about these, I say alleged because this case is actually really interesting. Because you can look at it two-sided, whether you believe she was possessed or whether this was a medical condition, and you'll understand why. So at 16 was her first incident, Annelise's first incident, where she blacked out during school. And her parents were called, and they told her parents that she was behaving like she was hypnotized, that she was trancing out, she couldn't focus, and she just fell to the ground. I guess back then, I guess that would be in the 60s now, you didn't do a lot with it, maybe. I don't know. But the parents never took her to the doctor. Not for a full year. When she was 17, it happened again. This time, when she passed out, she woke up and she was having convulsions and she had wet herself. So the parents finally said, well, I guess we better go to the doctor for this. Likely she had more issues in between that, I would think. But regardless, they took her when she was 17. 17 years old, took her to a specialist where she was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. She was given medication for her epilepsy, but also given meds for, are you okay? Are you all right? For psychosis and schizophrenia. Now, Tony, come here. Oh, he's a heavy boy. I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor. Are you waving hi? I'm not a medical doctor, but last time I checked, you don't go on schizophrenic medication or psychosis medication for epilepsy. They treated them both separately, so they must have seen some kind of signs that warranted that to happen. But she was all medded up. She was all drugged up. And it never worked, surprisingly. She was still having these small bouts of blacking out, trancing out, saying that she could hear voices. Parents just kept telling her, pray, 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 pray. Because that's what good little girls do. They pray. So now she's kind of into her early adult life, going to university. And it was in 1973 that she began to tell people, okay, like, people, I am seeing the devil. I am seeing Satan himself. I am being told by Satan that he has a place in hell for me. Everywhere I go, in school, in the hallways, wherever, his face is always there. The devil himself is always there. And he's calling for me and telling me to follow. So I guess at this point, that's where a religious family, let's get comfortable, Jones. A religious family finally says, okay, we should phone the church. So guess what they did? They phoned the church. And the church was kind of like, weird. Let's say some Hail Marys and put that to bed, because we don't really want to deal with your shit. So you keep your daughter that's dealing with the devil, and give us a call some other time. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks for coming twice a week and giving us half your paychecks. Good luck with your daughter. We hope you do well. So pretty much the church told them, I'm trying to get this dog, to go pound rocks. Anyways, 1975, after much persistence, the church finally agrees to an exorcism. So here's where things kind of get strange for me, and I'm very critical about these things. They would bring Anneliese into the church, or they would come into Anneliese's home and do the whole placebo effect. We must have been really part of Pavlov and all of those psychologist stuff. The priest would bring plain water, drinking water, tap water, and bring it to her or ask her to drink it, and she would drink it. Then they would bring a cross or holy water that was blessed, any kind of sacred object blessed by the church, and she would react and scream and convulse. She would say that it gave her headaches, that she would throw up, she would get ill. So she didn't know which ones were blessed and which ones were just regular objects that they would bring in. So the church was like, this is a little bit suspicious, I suppose. We should probably maybe do something about this. During this time, this was over a long process, the first exorcism in 1975. During this time, Anneliese became extremely violent. She would attack people. She would, Tony's out. Tony's like, I've had enough of this possessed stuff. That's okay, he did his part. Well, maybe he'll come back, we'll see. She would rip all of her clothes off, became really highly sexual too, which was really odd for her because she was so pure, or claimed purity, right? And she would tell the priest that she wanted to have sex with them and touch herself and things that she would normally not do. I would guess at 20, maybe regular everyday folk do that, but not this girl. So she was having all of this erratic behavior. This was on meds. The church, after about a year, decided they wanted her off all of her meds so that they could get to the demon, because they couldn't get to these demonic forces with her medicated. So they took her off all of her medication against doctor's advice. That first exorcism was done in secrecy, so the church didn't know. It was the second one that people really started to kind of find out about all this stuff, and that they had to make it known through the church that they were in fact doing this. All of her, by the time of her death, all of her ligaments in her legs and knees were ruptured from having to do the up and down that Catholics do when they pray. And they were making her do that multiple times throughout the day and evening. She stopped eating, she stopped drinking, she stopped anything because she said she was feeding her demons. Now, she also claimed that she had 6 demons. Her demons were Lucifer, obviously, as one, Cain, Judas, Hitler, I don't know about that, but Hitler, and Nero. And the 6th was a 16th century priest, Frankish priest, who was kicked out of the church for doing bad things. So she was claiming that all 6 of these demons were inside of her and were making her react to this. I laugh because like half of all of the pets I've ever had have been named. Almost all of those except for Hitler. So I guess more than half. And the Frankish priest, we don't know who that was. That's who she said was taking over. By the time of her death, she was having very slim consciousness of acting like she was her regular self. She was fully demonic. So like you saw in the movies with her head spinning, Emily Rose with the head spinning around and all that stuff going on. Her head didn't actually spin around. It was reported that she was vomiting, but we've discussed that before. That does happen during an exorcism or a pre-possession. They did say that she was levitating. I have seen instances of that actually happening, but movies obviously make it way bigger than it really was. So anyways, the last exorcism was done June 30th, 1976. She died July 1st, 1976. They did an autopsy because obviously it looks suspicious. By the time that she died, she weighed under 100 pounds. The autopsy showed malnutrition and starvation as the cause of death. So charges were laid against the priests and the parents. The parents were given a bye, I guess, given a you could pass go card because of all the trauma they had been under and all the children the mother had lost. So they didn't actually get charged or have to go to trial. The priests did. They were actually sentenced to 3 months in jail, 6 months in jail, 3 years probation. Shockingly, none of that happened. No one did time. Nobody even was on probation for it. So nobody went to jail. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying, was it a possession? Was it mental health leading with malnutrition, starvation? I mean, if you want my psychic opinion, I feel like we're dealing with more epileptic kind of mental health stuff. But the whole not being able to be around religion objects when she didn't know which was which, and they did it multiple times. And she would also speak in tongues and correct the priests. So, you know, like, you just don't ever know. I know for sure, God rest her soul, both to everybody involved. The mom must have had mental health, because later on, they actually had her body exhumed, because the mom was told by a nun far away that they would find her body still preserved, because they said she wasn't dead yet and that she was still encompassed by the devil. So the mom got kind of tricky and told them that they wanted her body exhumed because they wanted to put her in a proper coffin. They wanted to put her in a tin coffin. Kind of backfired on the parents, because the mom didn't get to see the body. They just simply put her in a new coffin, but all reports said that the body was decayed, as regular would expect, and that she was whole. So, needless to say, she got to bury her daughter where she could look out the window and see her graveyard, which was nice for the mom. I couldn't imagine going through something like that. But there you have it. That's our first pets in possession. Tony, do you have anything to say? No, I think Tony's just kind of like, this is not what I signed up for when you rescued me. Usually he's very talkative. Can you say I love you, Tony? He tries to talk. This dog tries to talk. He tries to say I love you. Sometimes it works. But he must be wiped out from all these demons and such. So there you have it. That's where you got The Exorcist from, or The Exorcism of Emily Rose and the Requiem. You can go watch those movies and see what you think. And I will catch you next week on Pets in Possessions with another story. Hopefully it is actually one of my own, but I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of history. So that's all I have to say. Make sure that you guys subscribe and share and like and do all that jazz. Share this. I will keep you entertained once a week, every Wednesday, with Pets in Possessions. And if you have any comments, leave them in the comment box. Have a great day. It's snowing here in Canada, the city that rhymes with fun, Regina. Have a great day, you guys. Keep it real and be safe. Bye.